Hey Guru Nation, welcome back to the clinicaltrialsguru.com. Again, it's the clinicaltrialsguru.com. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow me on all the social networks. The way this works is simple. You ask me a question. First of all, I get back to everybody, so that's why I'm on every social network, whatever you're comfortable with. Email, of course, Dan at theclinicaltrialsguru.com, or you can call or text me 949-415-6256. And sometimes I'll make a video, alright, and I'll keep you anonymous unless you specifically ask me to mention your name. So today's question comes from someone that said, hey, would you have any insights on how to grow investigator networks within inpatient orphan disease pediatric trials? Also, what are your experiences with getting parents to commit to these trials? Barriers and how to overcome them. So the answer is the same. You're killing two birds with one stone. The way you expand your capabilities of building and adding more investigators to your network, especially when it comes to orphan disease trials, especially pediatric trials, is go to where those physicians are, okay? You're not going to look and you're not going to find too many researchers that specialize in that kind of research and see those kind of patients in a private practice setting. You'll have some, but for the most part, the patients are under the care of physicians who are not doing research, right? So now it's your job to go in there, present the opportunity, just like my CRO does, okay? Go in there, present the opportunity, educate them on what research is. 9 out of 10 won't be interested, but 1 out of those 10 will, and they join your network, or you help them set up a site. The devil's in the details, of course, but there's so many ways you can go about doing that. You can either set up a 50-50 partnership, you can have them work for you as an independent contractor, you can go the SMO route, which I don't recommend, just because SMOs have a bad reputation now. There's all kinds of things you can do. In fact, what my CRO does, through our consulting arm, we identify these physicians who don't have research experience, right? They're not even thinking about research when we approach them, right? But we approach them because they have the patient population in their private practice. So we go in there, we educate them on what clinical research is. We tell them, I wrote a really good article on LinkedIn, so go to my LinkedIn. Actually, for everyone who's watching this, if you haven't read my article on LinkedIn, go to my LinkedIn. My name's Dan Sfera. You'll find my link underneath the YouTube video, or if you're watching on the blog, go to my LinkedIn, Dan Sfera, look at my posts, and you'll find one on how to get more physicians involved in clinical research. They don't even know what study coordinators are, okay? The reason they're so hesitant to even starting doing research is because there's so much hearsay from their colleagues who have had bad experiences. Remember, like 90%, it's a staggering number, 90% of physicians who have done a clinical trial never do a second one, right? So that word of mouth, you know the old adage, if you had a good experience, you're going to tell 4 people, but if you had a bad experience, you're going to tell 10 people. That applies to research, right? Way more bad stuff are being spread around by physicians to their colleagues about their bad experiences with doing research, that these physicians who have never done research already have these misconceptions about it, right? And I've learned this through my consulting firm. When we identify these physicians, it then becomes a sales job, okay? You show them the opportunity. You say, hey, your colleagues did it wrong. They tried to do all the paperwork themselves. They tried to do all the regulatory themselves. They tried to enter all the data themselves. You don't do that as a PI. You have study coordinator, you have a data manager, you have data entry person. And by the way, there's this thing called a CRA that comes to your office. There's this individual called a CRA. It's not a thing. They come to your office and they do quality assurance for you to make sure you're following good clinical practice. They don't know this stuff. And on top of that, you can tell them you can scale this. You have, in fact, we can start with one study right now where you're a perfect fit for, and that's how you get the ball rolling. And you're going to get, from every 10, I'm telling you, you're going to get about 9, maybe 8 or 9 of them to say no. And then 1 or maybe 2 will say yes, all right? And then it's a lot of work. I understand why people don't want to do it, because nothing's guaranteed. It's kind of a salesy type of job, at least initially. But then it's your job, once they are your client or your customer or part of your network, now it's your job to actually help them build a successful site, build a successful business unit for their private practice. And then this answers the question of how to get patients for the trials. I can count on one hand how many pediatric trials I've done in my lifetime at all my sites, right? We typically don't do them, and the reason is I never recruit for these studies because it's an exercise in futility, right? If you are cold pitching somebody, a parent, about having their kid do a clinical trial, you can forget about it, okay? But here's the caveat, and back to my first strategy. If you get the physician who's seeing those patients, it becomes a much easier sell. That's a trusted source. The parents are much more likely to listen to that physician. The key is getting that physician. So I don't even try to recruit study participants for pediatric trials. What I have done is when we've partnered with a doctor who specialized in pediatric disorders, and he or she had, in this case it was he, had a large private practice of pediatric population, he would let me know, or us know, the team know, who's interested, and then we would follow up. So it's not a cold, we're not cold pitching, right? And then the same thing applies, you got to follow up constantly. So that's my answer to you. Find physicians that have the patients. It will make your life so much easier. Yes, there's a lot of work up front, but you're building the foundation for something solid, and way more researchers need to do this, right? Thank you for watching Guru Nation. This is Dan from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Take care.